This video is brought to you by Power Performance Products, where you can get $10 off your purchase of Body Storm and Body Effects.
The big stories this week is Ed Soros and Anderson's management basically said we have no interest in fighting Chris Weidman. We don't think he's been enough name. He hasn't really paid his dues in the UFC. Is that a fight that you think Chris needs more seasoning, or do you think that he's ready for Anderson Silva?
Well, I think that that's the same stuff they said about Chael Sonnen, too. You know what I mean? They weren't going to do that fight either. This is what they do every time a fight's over. They start talking about who they won't fight and who they might fight. Nick Diaz makes no sense, okay? I know that sounds fun. Yeah, throw Nick Diaz in there. If you really look at the thing, Nick Diaz just lost to Condit, you know what I mean, at 170. So that gives him the opportunity to move up to 85 and fight the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. In what fucking universe does that make sense?
But you said fans do get excited about it, and you want to put the fights that fans want to see. Is there so I guess there's a limit on that?
George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva are both considered, and most people argue, you know. I think that I think finally, especially with the inactivity from GSP, that people now consider Anderson Silva the pound for pound. But there was an argument there for a long time. And if GSP hadn't been this inactive, maybe it would the debate would still be there. But he's definitely 2 or 3 in the world, depending on who you ask. And if you were really going to make a fight like that, it would make more sense with George St. Pierre than it would with Diaz.
So if he gets by Condit, is that something, I mean, how serious are we? Is this just theoretical talking, or are we serious
It's
about
always
this?
theoretical. You don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens in the future here, and maybe that is the fight we're going to make. I can tell you this, not theoretically, Diaz, Anderson is not going to happen. That's just ridiculous.
When you look at Anderson Silva, he may have limited time left on his career. Do you, from a promoter standpoint, you just want to see him in those final super fights, like maybe Anderson Silva versus JDS? I'd love to see that as a fan. Like, or John Jones.
JDS?
Yeah, why not have him go up to heavyweight?
I just don't, because I don't think he's got the frame for heavyweight. I mean, the guy makes 85 easily. 205? He can fight at 205, but he chooses not to. He doesn't like to fight at 205 for some reason. He doesn't want to do it.
Do you think the fans would rather see GSP and Anderson or John Jones and Anderson? Seems like more people want John Jones.
I think they want both. I think they'd love to have both.
Why do they say they won't fight each other? Do you know what the genesis of that is? Why they both say they don't want to fight each other?
Dude, how many times have I been sitting here in front of you guys with a bunch of guys that said they won't fight each other? You're in the fucking fight business. You're gonna fight.
Do you think you'll stop? You will not make a fight for Anderson until GSP's fight is done, just so you can have the opportunity to have those 2 guys get together?
Maybe.
That's what you're tempted to do?
Maybe. That is, no, that's what we're thinking, yeah?
Yes.
But anything could happen, you know what I mean? He could end up fighting, he could not fight, you know, we'll see what happens. But it's, like he said, it's all theoretical right now. People have to win first. GSP's got to come out and beat Condit. And, you know, because people love Diaz so much, you know, or love to hate Diaz so much, whatever it is, whatever side they're on. You know, Carlos Condit won that fight. And Carlos Condit is no pushover. He's a tough guy. It's going to be a tough fight for George, especially coming off the injury, inactivity, et cetera, et cetera.
Dana, Cesar Gracie said he's meeting with you next week.
True.
Okay. About what?
About Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz?
Yes. Caesar and I are meeting about Nate Diaz.
What about Nate Diaz?
We're re-signing him.
Okay. He also mentioned that he's going to try to convince you to let Nick fight overseas.
Yes.
Are you open?
He would have a better chance of convincing me, I don't know, to get hair plugs.
Is Nate Diaz still, I guess part of this negotiation or discussion next week will be that he will fight the winner of next week's title fight? Is that still the plan?
What's that?
Next week, Frankie Edgar, Ben Henderson.
Yeah.
Nate Diaz still
Yeah.
the guy who's going to fight
Yeah.
that part of the...
Yep.
So where you know, you have the 4 guys that are all fighting basically for a title shot. Where does Rashad Evans fall in this fight?
Rashad? Yeah, I don't know. I personally haven't talked to Rashad. You know, I've heard the talks of him wanting to go to 85 or possibly going to 85. So I don't know. If he did, he'd have to fight somebody. Maybe you do Rashad versus Weidman, and the winner of that gets a shot. You know what I mean? Just came off the top of my head. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying.
When would you like to see Anderson back in action?
I'd love him to fight before the end of the year, but he wants to wait. He wants to fight after the first of the year.
This video has been brought to you by ProBoxingSupplies.com, where you can get 25% off your purchase now.